What's up, everybody? It's me, Coach Vic. Just got off the phone with a closer. I was going through their funnel just to kind of check it out, and they had an offer that was somewhat appealing to me. I was pretty sure I wouldn't want to actually go through with it, but I wanted to see what their funnel was like because it was similar to something I was doing. And so this video is going to be about closing in general. I've learned from Dan Locke and from people that learn in Maryland. And going through this guy, listen to this closer talk to me, it was actually kind of funny for me because I can tell he was kind of reading off of a script, so maybe he was still new or new-ish to it. But his biggest issue was he wouldn't shut up. Now, there's the first thing you're going to learn about closing, not just from me, from anybody else, that you want your prospect to do most of the talking. And the reason why is so you can learn information about your prospects, so you can actually understand them and truly try to help them. The more you talk to them, the less that they talk, the less you can understand about the person you're trying to help. How are you going to help somebody if you know nothing about them? And if you don't truly understand their deep desires and needs and their fears and their pain points, there's no way you're going to be able to see if whatever you have to offer is going to help them. So for this offer itself, I can tell they're going through the script. I have it recorded, and maybe I'll play it somewhere or have it available for certain people. But it was obvious in the beginning. First thing he tried to do was set rapport, like, hey, where are you calling me from? How are you doing? This, that. And some people like that. Some people don't. It depends on your closing style. But it didn't feel very genuine. And it was basically, oh, I've been to where you live before. I'm like, okay, great. That doesn't really build rapport. Just like, all right, you know where I live, right? I happen to live in San Francisco. It's a place that many people have been to. Doesn't really help. Now, if I lived in a small town and the closer has been in that small town, perhaps that would be a little bit more effective. But in general, you live in a big city, San Francisco, LA, New York, Chicago, Detroit, Miami, Portland. It's just a big place that people would visit for one reason or another. Saying, hey, I've been to your big town doesn't really do much for someone. And it didn't really set the tone of like, hey, I'm the authority figure or I'm the doctor and you're the patient on this call. Next, he went through some very typical thing. In fact, when I was closing for someone, he actually said pretty much line by line what I had in my closing. I wouldn't necessarily call it a script. It kind of is a script, but it's not as structured as a script, but it's pretty close to it. And in fact, I'm going to read it to you because I was actually laughing. I was trying not to laugh on the call because it's not like the dude was doing anything bad. He was just doing what he was told, right? And so let's see. Okay, this is not the information I was looking for. But anyways, first thing, he wanted to make sure that I have massive clarity, like in those words, massive clarity. That's one thing. He wanted to say, hey, the way we do things is a little bit different than what you're used to. That was basically much line by line from the script. And I was using that for a little while too, until I just realized it wasn't my thing. He was also saying how he's going to get to know me in a certain way. How did he phrase it? Either way, the intention is to give you massive clarity to help you take the next step. Does that make sense? He said that pretty much line by line. And I would say, oh, yes, fine. Like, great. And before I forget, our calls are recorded for training purpose and to make sure we don't miss anything. And that was the key, to make sure we don't miss anything. And then he would begin with, so let's begin by what's not working right now in your business. Line by line, something else I've heard. Now, I'm wondering who trained him on that, because if it's line by line, then he was told to say that in those words. It wasn't like this is a paraphrase. Those are the exact words he used. And then from there, he went off script pretty much by, he didn't really find out much about me and my business. He went to selling mode right away. And that could be a symptom of him selling often, maybe from previous training, or he's just new to the whole thing. But at the end of the day, I didn't feel any compelling reason to buy into their program. I didn't have the fear I had when I came in, like, oh damn, if he's good at what he does, I'm going to want to spend money on this, and it may not be something that I should be spending money on right now. And I was rest assured he wasn't that good. So I had no intention to buy or anything like that. But what I will say is I did get some information from him because I took control of the conversation right away. He didn't understand. I asked all the questions after a while. He was talking a lot, and then I was able to take everything he was telling me and pick it apart. Well, why do you do this? How come this happens? Well, if this happens, what does this mean? If you do this, can you do that? And instead of him learning about me, I'm learning about their program. And they do some things that I might be able to apply to my business. Maybe, maybe not, but at least it's something to consider. So with that said, when you're going to close someone, you should be doing maybe 10 to 20% of the talking. The prospect should be doing 80% of the talking. You should be helping the prospect dig deep, find out what their real pain points are. Of course, they're going to want more money, lose weight, do this, do that. But why? Why is that important? Right? Don't just make an assumption that it's because they want more money that they're broke, or they want to lose weight because they're just overweight and that's it, and they just want to look good. There's reasons for that. But you can't, you only way you're going to find out if you ask the questions of why and dig deep, because sometimes they don't even know themselves. It is, you're playing part therapist, you're playing part doctor, and you're playing part, authority figure. And unfortunately, this closer didn't have any of those things, and that's why I didn't enroll. And just listen to them. Just handle pre-framed resistance, or other people call like certain objections. I can tell like he had some practice, but not a lot. And it was more, again, going off his training as opposed to him getting heart to heart with me and understanding me and making sure he really could serve me. Wasn't a bad guy. I'm sure he'll get better over time, but it tickled me. I like to say that, it tickled me. It tickled me to see how basically rehearsed it was without actually getting to the heart and soul of the matter. So with that said, to recap, when you're closing somebody, make sure you're talking to them. Very few, like just asking them questions to help them understand what they need from you, and then see if what you're offering can bridge the gap. If it can't, then wish him well and send him on his way, because you can't truly help that person. But you're not going to know that if you're doing all the talking, if you're selling me on the program. Because honestly, when he was selling me, I was daydreaming, I was looking at different websites, I was not paying attention. I forgot what we were talking about. So that's that. Make sure you guys keep practicing. Make sure you keep doing your thing. And with that said, if you're getting trained, make sure you put your own spin on the closing process. I want to learn about you as a person. I want to know you as a closer is going to help me, not, hey, you read off a script, or you had these bullet points to get through and you got through it. So that's it. Peace out. Good to see you. Bye-bye.